Good morning, children. Welcome to English class. Today we are going to learn the poem Jazz Poem 2 written by Carl Wendell Heinz. Before going to the poem, let us know something about the poet. Carl Wendell Heinz was born on September 1st, 1940 in Wilson in North Carolina. His mother was an elementary school teacher and father was a math teacher. Heinz would also become a math teacher and musician. He was graduated from Tennessee Agricultural and Industrial University in the year 1962. He published jazz poems in the year 1963. Now let's read and comprehend the poem. There he stands, see, like a black ancient mariner, his wrinkled old face, so full of the wearies of living, is turned downward with closed eyes. His frayed collar faded blue, old shirt turns dark with sweat, and the old necktie undone drops loosely about the worn old jacket, just barely holding his sagging stomach in. Yeah, his run-down shoes have paper in them, and his rough, unshaven face shows pain in each wrinkle, but there he stands, in self-brought solitude, head still down, eyes still closed, ears perked and trained upon the bassline, for across his chest lies an old alto saxophone, supported from his neck by a wire coat hanger. Gently he lifts it now to parted lips, see, to tell all the world that he is a black man, that he was sent here to preach the black gospel of jazz. Now preaching it with words of screaming notes and chords, he is no longer a man, no, not even a black man, but a bird, one that gathers his wings and flies high, higher, until he flies away, or come back to find himself a black man again. Children, this poem is about the jazz musician. Like the ancient mariner in Coleridge's poem, the old jazz musician feels he has a message for the people of the world. He is a pathetic figure, but at the same time a commanding artist. He has the power in him to make people listen, a gift that not many possess. He is silent in speech but eloquent in music. Children, in the initial lines of the poem, an old jazz musician is compared to an ancient mariner. To whom the jazz musician is compared, children? To the black ancient mariner. An old jazz musician is standing like a black ancient mariner. Ancient mariner is a character from the poem The Rime of Ancient Mariner by S.T. Coleridge. In the next lines, the poet gives the description of the jazz player. His old face is wrinkled and weary. How is the old face, children? It is wrinkled and weary. He had no interest in the present world. His eyes were always closed. His faded blue shirt has turned dark with sweat. He was also wearing the tie. The tie he wore was loose and torn. The jacket was old and it could not hold his sagging stomach. He had a huge stomach and it was hanging. The old jacket, what he was wearing, could not hold his hanging stomach. He wore the old shoes which had papers inside. He was wearing the old shoes and he had stuffed the papers inside that shoes. His face was not shaved. One could see the pain in each wrinkle of his face. His rough, unshaven face was showing the pain. Each wrinkle was telling about the pain the jazz player had in his life. He alone stood with his head down and eyes closed. An old alto saxophone hangs across his chest, supported from his neck by a wire coat hanger. Children, why do you think the jazz player keeps his head down? He keeps his head down because he is no longer interested in anything or no enthusiasm about anything in life. So always he keeps his head down and eyes closed. He had held an instrument across his chest. Which instrument was that, children? It was an alto saxophone. That instrument was supported from his neck by a wire coat hanger. He gently lifts the saxophone to the parted lips. He wanted to tell that he was a black man. He had been sent here to preach the black gospel of jazz. He was preaching it with words by loud musical sound. The jazz player gently lifts the saxophone to the parted lips. That means he will lift the instrument and he starts playing the instrument, and he wants to tell something to the world. What he wants to tell, children? He wants to tell that he is a black man and he was sent to the world to preach the black gospel of jazz. Gospel is a type of religious music in which religious songs are sung very loudly. Here the jazz musician preaches it with words of screaming notes and chords. That means loud musical sounds. When he starts playing music, he is no longer a black man. He was transformed into a bird. That bird gathers its wings and flies high and higher. When he stops playing music, he again becomes a black man. When he starts playing music, he is no longer a black man. He was transformed into a bird. That bird gathers its wings and flies high and higher. When he stops playing music, he again becomes a black man. Children, from the line 1 to lines 30, we will come to know about the pathetic condition of the jazz player. He is not at all interested in anything, no enthusiasm about anything in the life. But once he starts playing the music, he is no longer a black man. That means he forgets everything about the pathetic life and suddenly he gets transformed into a bird. He feels like a bird that flies very high and high. When he starts playing the music, he feels very happy and he forgets everything about his life. He even forgets that he is a black man. Once when he stops playing music, he again becomes a black man. He will come back to the world of reality. The jazz player wants to convey to the world that he is black man who can draw people towards him through his music. Though he is a black man, a pathetic figure, he has the power in him to make people listen, a gift that not many possess. He is silent in his speech but eloquent in music. This is all about the poem Jazz Poem 2. I hope this class was beneficial for you. Meet you all in the next class. Thank you.